So, hey, if you're watching, put a comment in the group or on the post on the video. Let us know who you are, that you're there.
Right.
Let me get this set up on my phone, too, because sometimes comments don't come through here.
Yeah, let me do that, too. Hold on a second.
I'll get squared away here. I gotta go to the page. What's up, guys? Whoever's here, start posting something. Let me know you're here.
Oh.
All right.
I'll post something. Here we go. I'm here.
Hold on. All right. Oh, shit. It's fucking picking up my mic here. It's watching. Hold on. I gotta figure out how to turn off this audio.
Come on, man. Get it together over there, man. So.
My mic's here. I just gotta lower this volume. Alright, there we go. Okay. Alright, Christian, what's going on? Ramon, how are you? Give us some likes, some hearts, some angry faces, whatever. We'll start here in a second. Nick will be joining us here in a couple minutes as well.
I see you, people. I see you. Let's do this.
Right.
Hey, baby.
So we're only like a few minutes late. We'll try and be on time. Get live, but it's all right. So everyone, this is Lee.
Hey, share it. I see you 7 people out there. Share it up. Let's do it. Come on, share it out there with people.
Yeah, guys, share this video, comment, like it, share it. Like people. You know what?
Tell him you got a bald, beautiful man on Facebook Live ready to get her done in his country. He's crazy, a little bit crazy too. So, but we're gonna have a good time for the next hour. That's for damn sure. So,
yeah. And guys, if you have questions, definitely start dropping it in the comments as they come. I'm leaving it open on my Facebook. JR, thanks for the hearts. All right, so Lee kind of came into the group, made a comment on the welcome message. I think I spoke a little bit about this earlier. And basically, I set up a call with him a couple of days after that. And we thought it would be good and beneficial for the group to set up this video series on the 9 steps to 7 figures. Lee will go into his background. I'll let him do that now. Go ahead.
all right. Well, first off, thanks, man. I really appreciate you. I saw the group, and I don't even remember how the hell somebody invited me to it, and so I was like, man, this is like right up my alley. So I joined it, and I appreciate you reaching out, and that's super cool. And this is what Facebook's always what it's all about right here, right? Digital. It's just the way it fucking works, right? So anyway, so man, my name is Lee Lee Goff. I live just north of Atlanta, if you can't tell. By my southern accent here, but I founded a company named Get You Wired in my upstairs bedroom in 2003, and man, since the time I started that, it just kept growing and growing and growing. We helped thousands of businesses. I think we were over 3,000, about 3,200 or 3,300, all 50 states, 17 countries, the whole time while I was CEO and running it, and we basically just kind of help business owners kind of break through that glass ceiling, right, and kind of make a little more money while working a little bit less. And we became really damn good at it, and we won. Let's see here. I had so many awards, I got to write them down because I forget about them right there. But Entrepreneur Magazine, okay, Top Company Culture and Entrepreneur Magazine in 2015. Infusionsoft. A lot of you out there have probably heard of Infusionsoft. And it's I love Infusionsoft. I love automation. That was like my niche for my first agency. And so we were the Elite Business of the Year finalists for 2015. So that's basically like the top 1% out of the however many people they got on their app now, are invited into what's called the Elite Forum. And then the top 3 out of those top 1% were nominated for the finalists, like the most elite business of the year. And so we were one of the finalists in 2015, and partner of the year for 2 years running. And we had what's called a Ultimate Marketer of the Year. It's like winning the fucking Oscar basically in their space, you know what I'm saying, for 2012, and another finalist in 2015. And anyway, the list just goes on and on and on. And so long story short is it got to where we had 40 plus employees, and I retired from that company when I was 40, and then I sold it last year. That transaction was final in June of 2016, so a little over a year ago. And since then, I started coaching digital agency owners, and I love it, man. I mean, I missed being in the trenches because when you're running a company and it gets that damn big, man, it's just like honestly, all you deal with is like your leadership team and your attorneys and your CPAs and problem children and shit like that. And so I missed. And when I say problem children, I mean the pain in the ass clients we all have to deal with sometimes. Not all clients or prospects are created equally, right? So, but I missed being in the trenches, and so that's what I do now. Is I'm developing I do one-on-one coaching, and out of doing that for the past year, I've isolated kind of like the top 8 things, right? Top 9 things that everybody has to kind of get in place, and it ultimately is going to boil down to systematizing, kind of systems and processes and leadership, and sales and service, and KPIs are a big deal, and all these different things. What we're going to cover in this series, and the very first one is going to be how to land some bigger deals. And that's always the elusive Easter egg out there, right? How do you close those? How the hell do some dudes and some agencies win those bigger deals? Meanwhile, you're stuck dealing with the douchebags that want Facebook for $5,000. You know what I'm talking about? So how do you get out of that realm, and how do you get those bigger projects? And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're going to talk about here tonight, and I think you're going to like it a lot. So
awesome. Hey Ross, how are you?
Ooh, look at that! Got some people coming up.
Yeah, there's a couple people watching. So I guess let me set up this.
Okay.
When do you give away? After there's gonna be that PDF. That's gonna be after you talk about it, right?
Yeah. Well, no, man. Go ahead and give it away now. I mean, anytime somebody wants, let's just keep saying this. Look, just click on, what is it? They got to put click on the bot. There's a link or something you're putting out there or something. Is that right? So click that, and so I think if they already got the 9 steps, that's cool. If not, they definitely need to go ahead and get the proposal template, because that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So they can just follow along with it, man. I mean, just as people come in, go ahead and grab that, and like I said, I'm going to be talking about that proposal template and some of the little tricks that I learned over the years, and I got them in there, and so like I said, I think it'll be very helpful. So, and I'm an open book too, by the way. So, balls. If anybody's out there, they got any questions for me, man, go ahead and interrupt. I absolutely love running my mouth about how to run agencies and helping people out.
What's the question, PR?
I said, how do your salespeople prospect, and how do you teach them to consistently close deals?
Okay, so that's actually a great question. So, there's a lot of different ways to go about doing that. The way we did it with my first company is we built brand credibility instead of actually getting into heavy-duty prospecting, because I found that prospecting, like in your local chamber of commerce or whatever, honestly, it kind of sucks. Whenever you're in the position of having to go out and beg for business, then you're basically going to get all the really bad deals. So what you do is you position your brand as the go-to, the elite. And we did that in the Infusionsoft community. And so basically anybody it got to the point to where it's not if people wanted to hire us, it's if they could afford us. And that's a damn good position. That's where you want to be, right? And so what we did is we niched out into that community, and I highly advise that for all agency owners. Find a good niche. Now, that niche can be your local community as well. But whatever the hell it is, okay, just, man, rock that shit out, man. Make sure you're the best in your local community, or if you're in the Infusionsoft community, or if you're in the HubSpot community, or you're in a vertical like auto dealerships or dentists or whatever the hell it is. Does that make sense? Just make sure you rock that shit out. And so that's how you go about prospecting. I was more of a fan of like what I call a one shot, one kill. I was not a fan of trying to get 10,000 leads and then trying to whittle down. I was more about getting 10 leads and closing 8 of them, knowing that my sales process and my branding had separated me from everybody else. So the way I positioned my brand was the fact that, listen, don't even talk to us unless you got money and a plan. Like, don't even do it. Don't even step up in this direction unless you got money and a plan. Period. And then when they would get on the phone with us, there was and as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and lead into this because this is part of the proposal process, is you got 3 different types of prospects, right? You got your beginners, you got your intermediates, and you got your advanced. Your beginners are the douchebags who probably drank beer last night with their buddies and said, man, you got to get a website. And so they have no damn idea what it takes to do it. And so they really legitimately think that they should get, Amazon, right, for $5,000. And, there's nothing wrong with them. Well, let me phrase that. In their little pea brains, there's nothing wrong with that. But from a digital agency's owner's perspective, that's a horrible spot to be in. Okay? You can't be in that spot. So you got to be able to vet that. And then the second spot is going to be what I call the intermediate spot. And they've had, they probably had 3 or 4 or 5 websites. So they've done this a few times. They know the end result that they want, but they don't exactly know how to get there. Right? So you have to kind of map that out and plan that out for them. And I got a cool little process on how you can actually kind of eliminate about 90% of your competitors in that phase. And then you got the advanced ones that already have like a detailed RFP, like a request for proposal. They got a 12-page or a 15-page document that's outlining everything they want. And these guys are these girls are savvy, and they're about to ready to rock it out. And so and so the first thing you got to do is whenever somebody get on the phone with me, I'd ask them, like, hey, listen, have you ever had a website? No. Do you have a plan? Okay, nope. Okay, well, if any of my competitors that you're talking to right now are trying to give you a proposal, whenever you yourself don't even have a damn plan, you need to fucking run for the hills. Because how the hell can they ethically give you a damn number and a plan when you don't know what the fuck you want? How can that happen? And they're like, oh, yeah, well, that, duh. It makes sense, right? And so that was one of the first parts of our sales process was determining who you're dealing with. Makes sense, right? And so if it's an intermediate, and by the way, most of the smaller agencies, that's going to be your wheelhouse. That's who you're going to deal with most of the time. That's probably going to be 80% of the deals that come across your plate will be that intermediate level. They've had a website a few times, they see the value in it, and they're ready to take it to the next level. So what I would do is I would actually sell them a discovery phase. And it would eliminate about 90% of my competitors, because instead of me trying to close them on a $20,000 website deal and a $3,000 media buying budget, after 30 minutes of conversation, I'd say, hey, listen, man, don't let the blind lead the blind. You don't know what you have, you don't know what you want, and you barely know what you need. So let an expert come in here and do a detailed plan for you, okay? And if you sign, and after that plan, you can use my agency if you want to, but if you don't use my agency, that's perfectly fine. You have a full service product, like a program. Now, if you do use my agency, then I'm going to give you 100% credit towards us implementing the project. And they're like, dude, that's freaking awesome. I mean, they'd stop talking to 90% of the competitors. They'd stop talking to right there. I'd get another $2,000 out of it, right? And I'd position my agency as like the only option to be an idiot to not use this. Now I get to charge another 20% on the back end too. I just got $7,500 to $10,000 out of somebody just by taking the logical the path there. And I kind of got off on a little tangent there, but to answer the second part of your question is you actually get into what's called a sales pipeline management process, okay? The more you can standardize your sales process, the pipeline, the easier it is to train them. So let me give you a scenario, okay? So somebody comes to your website and they opt in for the top 10 Facebook ads, whatever it is, okay? I don't care what it is, okay? Top 10 automation tips, top 10 things to market in Timbuktu, Arizona, or whatever the hell it is, okay? So they come in, and then from that point forward, what you're doing is you get into what's called an education and trust building phase. Every single sales process that you go through starts with what's called an emotional hook, okay? So they have a pain point. That pain is so high it's become an emotion, and they go out and they start to seek out a solution. Now, immediately after they realize, okay, the pain is here, and you hooked them, it becomes a psychological process. That's the education and trust building process. So let me give you an example. And no jokes here, okay? Balls, no jokes here, okay? Why does the old bald fat guy go buy a convertible turbo red Porsche?
I can think of a couple of things.
I can think of a couple of things, but none of them are logical. Okay? None of them are logical. That's for damn sure. Okay, to relive his youth, hopefully get a little bit of young, whatever it is, it is what it is, right? But there ain't nothing logical about it. Now, he might not buy that convertible turbo red Porsche because to change the tires on it's $5,000 a tire, and it's not 5-star crash test rated, so he can't take his granddaughter to church on Sunday. So he'll go from a Porsche to a Lamborghini, or he'll go. So the emotion is he wants to relive his youth, or he wants to do whatever it is, right? Then he logically will validate that decision. Make sense? So back to the sales process. The more you can isolate the logical, what I call psychological hurdles, okay, you build your sales process around that, and then you can standardize it. So somebody opts in. They start to receive automated emails or follow-up, which you got to have in place if you want to compete in today's very competitive agency world out there. You can't compete with automation. So now your automation is sending out educational stuff. So there's an introduction from the CEO. There's social proof. There's the history of the agency. There's your philosophy of the agency. And all these things are in the proposal template, and they all match. They all line up. So now the sales reps know they're getting emails and videos. So they better be on their damn P's and Q's, because if they start to yank out some bullshit, the prospect already knows. The prospect's already being sold because you standardize the entire process in automation and videos and everything else. That's how you can scale a service department. You see what I'm saying? And then you got a pipeline process for every opportunity that comes in. You can actually run a report in most CRMs, right, pretty much all of them right now, to see how long is it taking to take an opportunity from new opportunity to left voicemail one, or meeting, or close, or lost. And if it takes longer than, a few hours or a day or whatever it is, depending on volume and location and all that fun stuff, then you got a problem. So now your collateral is holding them accountable. Your collateral's training them, and your systems are making sure that they move things through the pipeline in an effective and, again, accountable way. So you have a process. That's how you scale your sales department. Okay? Now, and that becomes even 10 times more important if you want to get out of the branding arena and get into the high volume traffic. So you're spending $15,000 a month in Google AdWords, and now your process vets even more, because your process is going to vet the type of prospects you have. So, long-winded, but there it is. So.
Does that answer your question?
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
He's probably like, I'm not asking any more questions. So. You ready to dive? So, let's dive off into this proposal template.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. People should have it. The people that opted in got it.
Okay.
I have it open. Do you want to share your screen, or how does you want to do that?
And we can. No, I was just going to talk about it, but it's up to you. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. So, okay. So hopefully everybody's got it, and if you got it, then you should see that. Hopefully it's pretty easy to follow. Nice digging the balloon. So, who is that? Is that Princess? Was that a print? You got a little girl, right? Do you have a little girl?
No. So I'll just let that float.
That'll work. Is this a fetish thing, or you're like a dad? You got a little girl. What is this? Well, do we need to work? Do we need to call DFAX or something on you? Okay. All right. So basically, the proposal template that I use, man, for years, and again, understanding the three types of prospects, and so the beginners, you have just like a menu they can select from, right? So, it's $5,000 website, you get 10 pages, you get this, It's like just a menu. That sale should not take any more than 30 minutes to an hour, right? And if it does, man, don't waste your time on them. Now, the next two levels, that intermediate and that advanced, is where you really got to get into this, again, kind of like that psychology of the sale. You got to overcome those psychological hurdles that I was just talking about, right? And each one of those hurdles is specifically addressed in this proposal template that hopefully everybody's downloaded and they're looking at right now. Okay, so there are 12 sections that are actually required, and then there's one optional, and I actually highly recommend to do the optional, although it does take a little bit higher level relationship with the prospect, and it does take a little more time on your part. But when we get there, you'll see the value. You'll see why it's important to do that. Okay, so I have the handy dandy proposal template up in front of me. So I'm going to kind of flip through this. Okay, and the very first page on it, okay, is just basically kind of an outline. This actually is part of a course, or like what's called the agency blueprint. I think I was talking to you about that offline a while ago, boss. And it's a blueprint. It has 9 toolboxes, and each toolbox has numerous different lessons, and so in this specific one, we have all kind of tutorial videos, and I'm giving you all kind of educational. We also have things called handyman hookups, and so these are little hookup nuggets that I learned, over the years of doing it. And so right here you'll see that there's 13 different sections, and one of them's optional. The one that's optional is the actual number 8. And so let's break off into this thing and go, man. So the very first one, okay, it's going to be what's called your overview, man. It's like an introduction, right? So you kind of introduce your agency, all right, and you kind of give them an overview of how you perceive, you kind of perceive this whole process. And one thing I want to kind of not hesitate, but kind of warn you about is, man, don't name the damn thing proposal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, man up on this thing a little bit. Like, it's a digital marketing plan. It's a digital marketing something. Does that make sense? I mean, give it a sexy ass name. You know what I'm talking about? It's more than just a proposal. Don't name it proposal. And if you do name it proposal, at least make it a digital marketing proposal. Step it up a little bit. That drives me nuts when I see that. I mean, they send over a damn document that's plain effing white. It doesn't even have their logo or a phone number on it. I'm like, seriously? So put your damn logo up top left, put your photo and put your phone number in the bottom of it. Do the basics, man. Cover, just dot the I's and cross the T's. Give it a sexy ass name. Kind of separate yourself from the herd, okay? And then at this point, just kind of give it a general overview, a kind of a strategic 30,000 foot overview of what it is. Another thing you need to think about in this section is you also need to kind of define your mindset a little bit. Okay, so if you're reading through this, if you're looking at this right here, I think it's paragraph number whatever here. So I think paragraph number 5 or whatever like that. One of the things we do is we believe that in marketing, my marketing mentor was Jay Conrad. One of them is Jay Conrad Levinson, and there's a saying in marketing that if it's not being tracked, then it didn't happen. And in this example here, we say that we take that philosophy very, very seriously around here. And so everything that we do is with the intent to be able to track the results for your company. And people like to hear the mindset behind the leadership of the agency. So I'd always get that in there. And another thing is man, always put your damn cell phone number in there. Okay, I know a lot of the digital business owners. They love living behind that digital wall. You know what I'm saying? They like smoking dope in the basement, and I don't know what the hell's going on. But if you want to build a legitimate agency, that's not going to cut it, buddy. You're going to have to come out behind the wall. You're going to have to talk to legitimate business owners. You're going to have to establish those relationships. And that means giving them your cell phone. And when they call, pick up the damn phone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just that simple. I know I shouldn't have to say this. It's almost embarrassing, but it's very true. A lot of agencies owners just like they send it by email. And another thing I'm gonna say at the very end of this thing is a cardinal rule is you can never just email the proposal over. You always present it. You never ever just email it over. Always schedule a face-to-face or a go-to-meeting or whatever it is to present it. Okay. All right. So section number 2. I'm hearing some echo.
Yeah, you're echoing off something.
I don't know.
Go ahead. I don't know.
All right, we'll figure it out.
Your end or mine.
All right, that's cool. We'll figure it out. All right, section number 2 is going to be what's called your definitions. And I know that this kind of seems like, why the hell? I mean, like everybody knows what we're talking about. But no, see, the reality is they don't. Just because we all geek out about what the hell a content management system is, or a CRM, or a call to action is, or or a level of, or whatever the hell, customer acquisition costs, we geek out about that stuff all the time. And I love it, man. I mean, I study it all the time. But traditional business owners, man, they don't have a damn clue, for the most part, what a CRM is, or a CMS is, or SE. They hear the terms, but they don't know what it is. So give them a basic, kind of give them a basic definition. Now, some of the cool little nuggets in this section right here, that I like to do is you can use the actual definitions to build value in how your agency does it. Okay? And you can eliminate your competitors. Okay, so for example, KPIs, evaluate the success of an organization or a particular activity in which it engages your marketing campaign, so on. And this kind of ties into your philosophy behind it. And so now you're building value in your agency. A lot of people won't ever even bring up KPIs because they don't want to be held accountable for whatever the hell it is they're doing. They just want to deliver a website. Okay, and so another good example is mind maps. Okay, was this dude's eating nuggets back there? What's he doing? What's that? Is that some chicken strips? I'm hungry, man. I'm getting a little hungry back here. Come on now. I mean, share. Anyway, all right. But you know, mind maps. A lot of people don't take the extra effort and do mind maps. And these are simple things, man. These are things that everybody out there already knows, right? But just you can use the definitions section to actually eliminate a lot of your competitors and build value in how you do it. Now, another big part of the definitions is don't just copy and paste the damn definitions off of Wikipedia and put them on here. Define it how your agency means it, okay? So what a CMS means to your agency can be totally different than the agency down the street. A lot of agencies, okay, build custom CMSs that the other people are really locked into. And that, you talking about piss a business owner off? Man, you talking about piss one off, okay? You do that, all right? Now, you know, me, I'm a WordPress guy, okay? So, man, look, if you want to pick up and haul ass, then pick up and haul ass. You know, don't let the doorknob hit you, right? So, I mean, it is what it is. So, but a lot of business owners build out a CMS to where, man, if they ever leave, they can't take their website with them. They're screwed. They got to start over from scratch. Well, if you're a WordPress guy, there's a huge value in that to a small business owner, that they can say, hey, listen, you know what? This is not working out. So I can pick up everything I just spent 20 grand on and move on over to somewhere else. And there's a security feature to that. So state that kind of stuff in your definitions, and that can build a lot of value in overcoming those psychological hurdles we were talking about. Because no matter what, in every sale, you will have to overcome, like, you know, who am I dealing with? Okay, that's kind of like the strategic overview and the philosophy and the CEO kind of stuff, right? What are they going to do to me? All right, so that's the definitions, and you know, I'm good before I get ahead of myself here, but that's, you know, what are they going to do for me? How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take? And all these fun things. Okay, all right. So section number 3 is where you actually get into a lot more detail. The first one, in the overview, you kind of just give a general kind of mindset, philosophy kind of overview a little bit. Now, section number 3 is where you actually get into the why you are in business. This is a bigger why. This is a much bigger why, okay? And so you need to define, all right, if you're a creative agency, okay, not all creative agencies are created equally. Some of them are 100% about branding, and they will spend 3 years developing a logo. Some of them are like, look, I'm going to go to Fiverr and knock this shit out in 5 minutes. I'm all about creating your damn website. I don't give a flying F about your brand. Make sense? So define, you know, the philosophy behind why you do what you do, because that will eliminate, man, that can eliminate, you know, if that resonates. Look here, you're not here to get along with everybody. You're not here to solve everybody's problems. You're here to solve your target audience's problems. So if you do a certain thing really, really well, define why you do that, and you'll eliminate half your competition just simply by defining why you do it. So get into great detail that if you're a programming, like a custom app, you know, whatever it is, and say we build the cleanest, we pride ourselves on writing nothing but the cleanest and highest performing code. Not only is our code some of the cleanest in the world, but we also write it in a way that makes it easy and user friendly for both your prospects and your staff to use. We comment everything out, and so you get into the details and the why behind why your code is better. So it's just the philosophy behind why your agency is there to do what they do. Okay, section number 4. All right, is what's called your target audience. And again, this sounds like a duh, but most people don't put this in their proposal. Okay, and this is a major legal liability down the road. All of a sudden, you know, if the prospect at the end of this thing is, well, I told you one time in the very first conversation 3 years ago that I want to go after these people, which happens, you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden they change their damn mind halfway through the deal because, you know, somebody last night at the party told them they should be going that way. And they're going to come back and say, man, I told you to do this. No, asshole, you didn't. And the reason I know you didn't is because I documented it in the proposal. Okay? And I got it, you signed off on it, and I'm showing you, this also is a big deal about showing them that you know what you're talking about, you know who they're targeting, and they legally sign off on it. So now you're kind of covered, you're covering your bases on that whole deal. Very simple, you know, very simple. This is, by the way, every single thing in this proposal right here is a find and replace, okay, about that fast, and it's overwritten, so you delete everything that you don't want. I mean, you got to go through and customize it, right? Because you got, like I said, you got to go through and customize it for creative or programming or ad spend or whatever it is. But once you do it that one time, and we have videos that kind of train you on how to do all of this stuff. Once you do it that one time, man, it's literally going there and find and replace and delete, and you're done. It takes about I don't know, anywhere between 20 minutes, and if it's a really complex one, it might take an hour, but most times it's about 20, 30 minutes kind of thing. So now the next section is what I call bring the pain, okay? You got to bring the pain, okay? And so you do this by outlining the existing sales and marketing systems. And this is one of the unsung heroes right here, closing bigger deals, okay? Now, they know why they came. Obviously, they're feeling the pain, okay? I mean, they would not even have reached out to you. They would not be entertaining spending $20,000 or $10,000, whatever the hell it is, if they didn't know they had some pain. But the reality is, most of them don't understand how bad the pain is. And even if they do, you need to bring the damn pain, okay? So this is when you outline the systems. This is when you say, that damn thing sucks so bad, it's costing you $1 million, it's this, it's this, it's this, it's this, and this is why it sucks, this is what's going, this is, basically what it is, the whole thing. One time I was doing a proposal, and it was for this company. They're about a $70 million company. And just simply by not having automation in place, because they weren't harvesting the leads and they weren't following up with them, they were losing about $6 to $8 million a year. And you talking about, man, the CEO, when I actually stopped my presentation, I said, hey, if you don't mind, I pointed to the CEO. I was like, would you please read that paragraph right there at the bottom of that page? And it's because, CEOs are all over the place doing their deal. So he stops and he reads that damn thing. Man, you get his whole face turn red. He was fucking pissed, man. He was like, are you serious? I mean, he was pissed. He was pissed. I closed that deal right then and there. I went through the rest of the proposal, but I knew I had him at that moment, right then and there. Because he was like, wait a second, are you telling me that if I do this, this, and this is going to happen? I'm like, that's exactly what's going to happen right there. And it did, actually. So we knocked it out of the park for him. So this is when you bring the pain. So bring the pain. And this one right here takes a little bit longer because you got to dive into some of the existing systems, but it works very, very well. Okay, so the next section, and it's like, what is this, section 5 or 6, I think? Section, 5, whatever. Strategic recommendations. What's that?
I was just saying strategic recommendations.
Yep. Okay. And so this is kind of like when you get into that, it's like you get into higher level, like a 30,000 foot view now. And I want to kind of caution everybody out there on getting into the overwhelmingly granular details in your proposal. Okay. Not only do they take a very long time to do, it's also the same noose of which you're going to hang by at the end of this damn thing. Okay. All right, so give us 30,000 foot view strategic recommendation, and again, design new brand identity, implement rebranded website. So you get into pretty good details. That makes sense, but it's not getting into like, okay, implement rebranded website. We're going to develop 8 concepts. Those 8 concepts are going to be your homepage, your contact us page, your about us page, your map, your whatever. We're going to implement 332 products with photos and all these things. Don't get into that level like right now. Okay, you don't get into that level. As a matter of fact, you do that after they've retained you. Okay, and they're paying for you to do that because it's going to take a lot of time to do that shit. So you kind of want to keep it a little bit open-ended to the best of your ability in the proposal process, because then it saves your ass on the back end legally. And again, the very first thing you do when you actually are engaged is you get in what's called an LOE. It's called a level of effort, and that's when you get the spreadsheets out and you boom, 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 and you lay everything out. But you also better overestimate by 20 to 25% on here, because it's always better for everyone to feel a little bit of pain up front than to feel a whole lot of pain on the back end. It's always better. Let me say that again. I don't care how bad you're starving, and I don't care how desperate you smell, and make no mistake about it. If you're desperate for business, other business owners smell it. They can feel it. They know that you're desperate. They see it in your eyes, they can hear it in your voice, and they smell it through the phone, man. Don't kid yourself. If you're desperate, you're going to get screwed. They're going to bend you over backwards. So don't go into this desperate, and do not get into all kind of details at this moment in time, because they are going to hang you by those details. Remember, everybody's perceived values and definitions of what a website is different. So you have to kind of leave it a little bit open-ended and define it in your definitions. That'll cover your ass very, very well. But again, strategic recommendations. You want to kind of lay this out over in phases is what I typically do. So I'll give them kind of bullet points, and I'll do a phase 1 and phase 2 and then phase 3. Make sure you kind of lay out primary rebranding, infrastructure build out, and step number 2 is going to be the design, setup, and rollout of the media buying. So now I'm kind of positioning them for an upfront capital investment. By the way, that's one of the little nuggets right there is don't position the upfront large project as like a marketing line item. Position it as a capital investment, because nowadays everything's in the cloud, okay? And that shit will last 10 years, man. Hell, most trucks for a plumbing company don't last more than 5 to 7. Okay, it's just that simple. And when they go to sell it, it's worth $1,000. It's a piece of POS. It ain't worth shit. Okay, at least this is going to make money for them for at least 10, 15, 12 years. Okay, so position it as a capital investment, and then the marketing budget is actually when you get into the phase 2, and that's the media buying and the advertising spending and all that fun stuff. Okay, so make sure you set the expectation levels for a long-term engagement with your agency, and you do that in the strategic recommendations, and you also do that in the next section, which is what's called the project timeline. Okay, and this is, again, you keep it kind of open-ended. You'll notice here that we kind of keep it a little bit open-ended, to where you're basically you're padding everything by about 20 to 25%. You do that on the money and you do that on the time. By the way, there's only 2 things in this world you can invest: money and time. You don't want to get screwed on either one of them, because they both going to ultimately cost you money at the end of the day, period. So pad your estimates on the money side by 20 to 25%, and pad your estimates on the time by 20 to 25%. That always gives you enough buffer and enough wiggle room to kind of make sure that you can kind of over-deliver long-term, and you don't get screwed when it comes to your pocketbook long-term, okay? And this should be pretty self-explanatory. See the very first thing at the very, very top right there? What's that say?
Project planning phase?
Exactly. That is when you finalize this project scope documents, mind maps, set up project management portals, train all parties on the process, harvest critical login information, domain names, Googles, and all that fun shit. This is when you finalize the project plan. And they see it right here. Okay? And you tell them, and you be honest with them. You tell them, look. Anybody who's telling you, giving you an exact line item like that, that's going to screw you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, because the reality is that we got to spend 6, 8, 10 hours, man. Look, we got to dive into this shit, man. I don't want to come in here and rebuild something that's already working for you. If it's already working for you, let's use that part of it and then build something around it. Right? I mean, it just makes business. It's not like, duh. And so to just be upfront with them and tell them this project planning phase is where we're going to really batten down the hatches. We're going to dot the I's and cross the T's, and it's going to rock out going forward. Okay? And so, and always build that into your proposal. So now this one right here is the optional one. And I don't recommend this on lower end projects, but the ones that come to you with that RFP, the advanced level clients, the beginner and the intermediate. If you even ask for half the stuff to do this right here, okay, they're going to look at you like, what the, they're not even going to know what the hell you're talking about, okay? But if you can, this was called return on investment projections. This is the silver bullet. This will help you close 6-figure deals right and left. And the reason it does is because you actually associate this back to real world numbers. So you actually ask them for their media buying budget for the previous year. You actually ask them for the amount of leads that came in from that media buying budget, and then you actually get the number of what's called the total customer lifecycle value. Okay, and so now you have your customer acquisition cost and your total customer lifecycle value, and you can now associate a percentage increase in leads back to real money in the bank for that client. Make sense? And if you can do that, if you can associate using their numbers, remember, they provided these numbers, so they ain't gonna fucking argue with them, right? They're going to be like, okay, damn, that's for real. So if this guy can legitimately, and you better, by the way, back it up, can increase leads by 10%, then my revenue is going to go up by 10%, and that's a win-win that's all the way around. That's a win all the way. That's ultimately what you're there for.
That's a big point, because we talk about that a lot. And
yep.
As far as, even in some of the other videos, Ramon, if you're watching, if you find that video, maybe cut out that section. We kind of go over how to extract that number from the customer.
Yep.
Just because most of the business owners don't have an idea of their customer value or lifetime patient value or any of those numbers.
Yep.
So we kind of, in one of the other videos, I broke it down exactly the conversation to have to get that number using their numbers.
Yep.
So, that's a key point. I've never thought to actually project it out on a spreadsheet and show it to them.
Yeah.
Which actually would probably be beneficial, because based on their numbers, you can plug that in. I usually do it with my prospects on the fly.
Yeah. Here, let me see here. I'll watch this. I'll share my screen real quick. Hold on a second. Watch this. We actually, in the Agency Blueprint course, we actually give you, we give you all this stuff here. Watch this. This is pretty cool. Start sharing. All right. Get that out of here and over here. Maybe. Hold on a second here. we go. Okay, so all right, so we actually get into this is we're going to cover this later, and we're going to cover this a little bit later. But this is really cool. This is kind of part of the tools and stuff that we provide in the agency blueprint. I know we're not supposed to be talking about this, but let me just kind of show you real quick. It may be if the damn thing will pull up here, but hold on a second. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So these are agency, the key performance indicators. Okay. And so what we were talking about a while ago is getting the total customer lifecycle value, right? And the ability to be able to associate that back to real world numbers. Okay. So that ultimately is going to boil down to what's called customer acquisition costs. So you see this tab right here, right? So you have your media buying budget, total leads received, clients generated out of those leads, your average cost, all right, to be able to get that client, total revenue, and then you got your lead source ROI. And so this breaks it down to where you get these numbers right here, okay? And it gives you the breakdown of everything that you need right here. It's super cool. It's a really, really cool little tool. And we actually provide one also for in the proposal course right here. We actually have one. As a matter of fact, the one you see on this thing right here is the one we provide where you actually can plug it in there as well. So it's pretty cool to have that kind of those little nuggets. Those things help a lot, man. Whenever you're trying to get stuff done around the damn office, and man, people are screaming at you, people cussing at you, you're trying to get shit done. All you do is plug it in, right? So all right. Next section is going to be the capital ongoing investment. Again, I alluded to this a little bit a while ago, okay? And this is a big deal. You notice how I actually did not put in here marketing investment, okay? This is a capital investment. And that is if you're going to take anything out of this, when you position your damn plan, position phase one, the infrastructure, what's called the infrastructure build out, as a capital investment, and tell them, and I'm telling you that in their mind, that's going to free up additional money to spend. Because they have a marketing budget. And their marketing budget's $50,000. And marketing to do the, so they're going to perceive this to go up under marketing. And so if this goes over their marketing budget line item, you're screwed. But if you say, hey, a lot of what you're doing here is going to go into the cloud, this data is going to be there for you for the next, man, it'll be there for you forever. This is what's called a digital asset. And hey, look, I sold my company. Trust me, one of the things that they're going to look at is going to look at your digital assets. They're going to look at your damn list. They're going to look at your ability to be able to drive leads and close business. And how do you do that? You do that with your digital assets. So this is now what's called a capital investment. You make sure you outline that, and you separate yourself from the competition by doing that. And then you also outline the ongoing investment, and you do it very clearly right here. And you can kind of look in here, design website concept up to 30 pages, landing pages, all that fun stuff. Like I said, this is pretty self-explanatory here. I think everybody kind of knows what this is. So the next one, this is another good little section. It's kind of like the definitions section, but it's a frequently asked question sections. Okay. We all get that question, hey, can I do any of this myself? Everybody trying to be a cheap ass, trying to save some money, okay? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can represent yourself in court too, but it'd be a moron to do it, okay? If you want to go to jail, then by all means, go represent your ass in court and be all good. So, but can we host the site ourselves? And yet another question that, come on, man, really? It's like $10 to get, whatever. Anyway, so what you can do is like, you can actually build value and go ahead and there are going to be, again, these hurdles. Come back to the psychological hurdles, okay? And so this is your opportunity to overcome, in just clear, plain terms, a lot of the hurdles that people are going to ask before they even ever ask them. And you can build value in how you do it. So again, these frequently asked questions allow you to build value in your brand, eliminate competition, and speed up the sales cycle. So to give you an idea, when I first started my agency, man, it used to take us 3 to 5 weeks to close a deal. Because, man, we had to go through all this. We'd answer all the damn questions. I didn't have this. There was none of this shit when I started my agency, man. Are you kidding me? This is 16, it was forever ago. How old was I? It was like, 14 years ago. Digital agencies, man, everybody thought the big marketing agencies and advertising agencies were just going to swallow them up. I don't know if y'all been around even long enough to remember that. But, you know what I'm saying? And that's the way it was. Nobody thought that we would survive. Everybody thought that the big agencies would just come out and do it. This is what they would do, right? Because they had all the money. But they didn't, because they didn't adapt fast enough, and so here we are. The entire industry is blowing the hell up. But there was none of this shit. There was none of this shit. It took me forever to figure this stuff out. It literally took me 14, 15, almost 15 years to figure it out. And so this template, this proposal template, took it to where it would be, instead of 3 to 5 weeks, man, we used to get down to where it'd be more like 1 to 2 hours closing $20,000 deals. Like that. Because everything's in the damn proposal template. It's all bam, 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 bam. Don't underestimate the value of actually having it in writing, too, because a lot of times, the people that, even though they say they're the decision maker, they're not the decision maker. They're going to go home and show this to their wife. You know it's true, right? You know it's true. You know it's true. Or they're going to go to the CEO or whatever. So if the person that's the decision maker, okay, can actually take this and go through this in comprehensive detail without having to pick up the phone and having to answer 500 questions, you just took 2 to 3 hours off your close time, and you just build a whole lot of value in your brand. Makes sense, right? What is it? Don't make dollars, don't make sense, right? So, all right. So, in the next section is how do we get started? Man, look, if somebody wants to give you money, you make it easy, baby. So you just outline, sign the bottom of this proposal. We require a blank retainer fee. If you're ready to move forward, but have a couple of change of scope, schedule a meeting with the sales rep. In other words, you outline in detail what the hell it takes to get started. Very simple. And this is, as a matter of fact, the copy I have right here is a good example of it. I would take that and just kind of customize it a little bit. Shouldn't take you any longer than 10 minutes to customize this. As a matter of fact, this whole thing is, I don't know, it might take a few hours to customize it the first time. That's just to get it to where it represents exactly what your agency does, right? And then again, after that, 20, 30 minutes, man, bam, you're pounding these things out, and you just look like a freaking rock star, you know what I mean, to basically, to everybody you're doing a proposal for.
There's ways to automate that, too. So you can take sections.
Yeah.
I got a little advanced. You can take sections and have softwares, hey, if I type it into my CRM here, it's going to push it out to your proposal.
Yep. Well, they even got shit that's even, in my opinion, even cooler than that now, man. Like Proposify. You've heard of Proposify. So you can actually upload this document, right? I think you can upload a Word document, and they convert the damn thing into a dynamic thing to where basically you fill out a form, right? Like you're saying, right? And it just goes and spits all that shit into the proposal. It's freaking awesome. And then you can send it. And they can sign it, digitally sign it. And if I remember right, I think you can actually put an order form link in there too. So they sign it, and it bounces over to click here to pay, which is I love those systems. I have to admit, those weren't around. Those are relatively new. Those are kind of newer. You know what I'm saying? They just kind of started popping on the scene about a year or two ago. I did not have that shit going, for mine. So that would have been super.
I'm hybriding a system right now. I don't want to use Proposify because I don't really send out proposals per se for my deals. I shoot out agreements. And it kind of outlines. It's very similar. If I built it out, I could probably call it a proposal.
Yep.
But it's merely like a 2-pager. So the way I'm setting up my systems now is, so when I type something into my CRM in a certain custom field, it'll spit it out to this system that'll push out that for the signature, and after it's signed, it goes to payment from another system.
Yep. Yeah, man. That's a good way to do it right there for sure. So, no doubt about it. So, and what are these kind of like these smaller engagements? Because a lot of times when you get into bigger engagements.
Yeah, I just did like a $5,000 one.
Okay, that'll work. Yeah. Yeah, and man, I tell you what, for those smaller engagements like that, man, this is what I used to do, and these right here are kind of for the larger engagement, because whenever you get into spending, 25,000 plus, they you know what I'm saying, they want a little more.
They want something
a little more robust, right? So, but man, as far as I agree with you, man. And those smaller deals, you know what? I used to not even get them to have to where they had to sign a contract or any damn thing. They just pay me the damn money. We rock and roll.
I didn't do that either, but then. It opens up doors for shit.
Yeah. No, it does. But then, and here's what you got. If you're gonna do it like the way I used to do it is you basically got to be prepared to basically refund their money at the drop of a hat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After you you already said that I need X amount of fucking time to close your time. Oh, I spent this much on ads. You still want me to fucking read the ads?
Yeah, no. And say, okay, you know what, douchebag, kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? Here's your money back, my bad. Except for the ad spend. Don't worry about, they ain't nothing. go after Google, asshole. You know what I mean? Good luck. You know what I'm saying? So, but as far as your time, if it's a smaller engagement kind of thing, then just be like, look, I told you I was going to do 40 hours. There is no silver bullet. If there was a silver bullet, I wouldn't be talking to you. I'd be on my own damn island somewhere. Okay, so this marketing by definition is a testing and tracking process. That's what it is, and it is what it's been forever. And so and by the way, if you're out there, use that one, by the way. But so don't ever guarantee. You cannot. I mean, it's just everybody has. Man, look, some people just suck, man. Their products just suck. It is what it is. It is what it is, and they can't. I mean, they can't sell. I mean, they couldn't sell a glass of water to a dying man in a desert. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they just can't. I mean, it's just they can't sell anything. I had that happen a lot of times. Man, I would drive thousands, and I mean thousands of leads into the damn door, and they would say, "Yeah, man, we're not getting any more sales." And I'm like, what the hell's the problem? You know what I'm saying? I can lead a man to Congress, but I can't make him think. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. What are you doing with all these thousands of leads? And I'm like, so I dive in. I'm like, well, you're not even picking up the damn phone and calling them? No, man, we just thought it'd start raining money. What, man? What? Like, what? 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 Anyway, so you can't fix stupid. You know what I'm talking about? So, anyway.
That's a whole other conversation.
Huh?
We had that conversation a lot.
What's that?
That's a whole other conversation. We ended up having that conversation a lot on these lives, and
man, I'm telling you, that's another reason why you got to have this deal right here. You know what I'm talking about? You got to outline it in detail, and just is what it is. That's definitions and FAQs, all that fun stuff. So make sure you got to give them there on a way to get started. Make it easy. Now the next section is how do we get started? Continue. It's kind of like the legal stuff. Me personally, I didn't put the legal stuff in my proposal. I would always have it to where, hey, reference our website here at this location, okay? And then after they paid me, okay, I would get them to, for the onboarding process. So in other words, they would pay, and then there was what's called a questionnaire. Like we had an onboarding questionnaire. They had to fill out this questionnaire, and then they'd have to check the legal boxes and initial the legal boxes on that questionnaire, okay? But me, I like to remove barriers to entry. You know what I'm saying? I am a huge advocate of making it as easy as possible to get them on the hook. Okay, now understanding that you're going to over deliver. Part of the caveat to that is you're not just getting them on the hook to take their damn money. Okay, you're that guy that nobody likes. That gives us all a bad name if you do that. Okay, I'm talking about you got to. Everybody knows out there know what I'm talking about. They're that guy. I'm talking about that guy that says he's going to make it rain for $5,000 and build Facebook for $5,000, takes their damn money and then goes dark. You ghost them. You know what I'm talking about? It's like that guy. Nobody likes that guy because he makes all the rest of us look bad. Okay, that's why we got to have 14-page proposals to over-explain our shit because we got that guy to deal with a lot of times. Okay, so but me, I would remove as many barriers to entry as possible. I was consulting a company down in Fort Lauderdale. It was a credit mitigation or repair, or whatever the hell they did, and they were driving leads, and I was sitting there talking to them, and she's like, I don't understand, man. The more I spend in media buying, we're getting all these leads, and my damn sales aren't going up. And so I started asking questions. I was like, okay, show me the onboarding process. Show me the sales process. And so she went through this whole thing, and she pulled up this DocuSign thing. I swear to you, it must have been 432 pages. And then you had to initial every page. You had to print it out. You had to, I think you even had to, direct mail it. I mean, you had to mail it. I was just like, are you serious? I was like, are you serious? It's like, this is a $97 a month service. I'm like, look, kill that whole damn thing. The whole thing. She's like, well, my attorneys. I'm like, well, attorneys, no. Attorneys, I'm like, no. Like, attorneys are not, when was the last time you saw an attorney sell a damn thing? Okay, and they don't sell. This is a $97 a month deal. And if somebody comes back and barks, then refund their effing $97. Okay, so no joke, just simply by me saying remove that barrier to entry, okay, sales doubled in less than a week. They're like, okay, cool. They just check a box, pay the damn fee, and here they go. Like, duh, right? So I'm a big barrier to entry, remove that stuff. So I didn't put a lot of legal stuff in mind, but they did sign off on it not only whenever they came on board, but they also signed off on it a second time during the project kickoff process, of which we cover that in Agency Blueprint as well. So, all right, and the last one is going to be sorry, not the last one. The next to the last one is payment terms. How you gonna get paid, right? So, this is very, very, very simple. 50% retainer, 30% upon beta, 20% upon go live, and then monthly retainers fees begin upon go live phase. This is going to be dependent upon how you bill. This is every single agency is going to be a little bit differently on how you do that. Just outline it in very clear, simple, concise terms. Don't overthink it. Don't over dramatize it. You know what I mean? Just don't try to sugarcoat it either. Like, people aren't stupid. Now, sugarcoating is for everything else. That's what this is for. But when it boils down to the money, all they want to know is how much do they have to pay you. That's all they care about. If you built value in this phase is a checkbox item. Make sense? Stupid easy. If this part did their job right here and your sales reps did their job, this is like, okay, no big deal. Thank you. We're ready to go. Little what we call handyman hookup. Okay. I used to never ever ask for the sale. Okay. Until and like at the last second, if I didn't get this question, I'd almost always get this question. And this is my favorite question. They were like, okay, so what are the next steps? How do we move forward? And everybody out there loves hearing that. You know what I'm talking about? You love it. They ain't questioning no money. They ain't questioning nothing. They just ready to give you money. They're just ready to rock and roll. And so you need to do your job. And if you do your job at about 80% of the time, that question will be presented to you by the prospect ready to give you money. Okay? That's what this proposal thing does. And the last section, last but definitely not least, is the executive summary. This is where you tie everything up with a nice little pretty little bow. You also elaborate on, like, for example, people like to know how dedicated you are to their success. It's probably not a bad idea to remind them of the pain points of why they're there in the first place. If you got the higher ROI projections, it's not a bad idea to put those in there as well. Another good thing is I would always put in there is, and this might sound kind of, I don't know why, but this always helped a lot, is actually an escalation path, like a chain of command. And so whenever people like to know that if shit breaks on their project, because inevitably it's just going to happen, and everybody knows that. This is not, nobody's, ain't nobody fooling anybody around here if you think it's going to be hunky dory, peachy keen all the time, right? So, and so let them know that, hey man, if your project manager's not happy, here's my and I would put my personal cell phone. I mean, here's the CEO's personal cell phone, and I promise you, if my staff does not do their job and you are a raving fan, you better pick up the damn phone and call me, because if not, because I want to know. I gotta know. That's how you get better. And that always helps so much. And then always personalize it, man. We wish you and your husband, your wife, your partner well, or whatever it is. Mention something like, hey, their son's playing baseball. I hope your son has a good baseball game tonight. Give it a little personal touch. You add that kind of personal flair to it. And man, if you think about the psychology of the sale, okay, and you hook them on the emotion with your call to actions, of which hopefully you guys are, I know you guys discuss that a lot in the group, but if you can hook them on that, and then you can overcome the psychological hurdles with a pretty handy dandy little template like this, man, you will start closing a lot more deals, and you'll do it a lot faster. So, hey, I got a fake little mic somewhere. I want to go get the fake little mic so I can drop it now. So like, where is it? Like, totally kidding. Like, there we go. All right. So, man, 8 o'clock. We nailed it. Right on time. So.
Right on time. I left a couple minutes in there for people. If you have questions, ask them now.
Yep. Let's check it out.
I don't see any questions. Matt said, I got to go, but Leah's dropping some serious value for anyone who wants to run an actual sustainable agency.
And by the way, that's the difference right there. Okay, I don't know how many. I'm getting to know this group right here, but my agency, okay, was world class. It is the gold standard in the niche that it's in, and the stuff that I'm talking. And let me preface that by, for the last 3 years that I was running that company, I worked 2 hours a week. That is just like, there's a drop the mic kind of moment right there. Does that make sense? Okay, all you cats out there, I know you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You're making 75 to 200 grand a year, and it's fucking miserable, man. You ain't got no family time. I mean, people are cussing at you. You know, it sucks. How do you scale? You know what I mean? What you laughing at back there? Where's the balloon at? Hit that dude over the head with the balloon. Look at him. Why's he laughing? What's he laughing at? So, but but because y'all know. I mean, anybody who's ever built an agency knows, man. The stuff I'm talking about, this is what I call infrastructure, like foundation items. And we had a saying at my old company, is every time you put in something like this, okay, and you put like the other 9 steps to 7 figures that I'm talking about, that adds like another inch of concrete to your foundation. And whenever you get a 9 or 10 inch foundation, okay, then you can actually, you got a rock solid foundation to build a solid house on and launch that.
All these systems like this whole process.
Yep.
Once you build it out, and that's something I'm building out currently. Once I get my VA trained up, I already have the outline. I just have to build it. Once you have that automated process going, then you can start inputting different people in those departments, right? You can't expect them to build it for you. So you have to build it, unless you hire somebody with experience and you want to pay them like $40,000 a year right off the bat to do it, sure. But
well, no, even if you do that, they're not going to build it, because remember, it's your vision. Don't ever lose sight of this. You're the owner. They're not going to build it the way you want to build it. Right, exactly.
So the way I look at it is, hey, you know what? I'm going to fucking spend 8 hours this weekend banging out this whole process.
Yep.
I'm going to work that process and tweak that process. And when the time is right, I'm going to hire somebody to put into that process.
That's exactly right. And that's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. And that is, the key is not spending time on just like what I call free busy stuff. In other words, if you're just putting out fires all day long and you're not actually, everybody's heard the old saying, work on your business, not in your business kind of thing. And that's what this is. That's exactly what we're talking about right here. That's what these 9 steps are. When you look at the 9 steps document, every single thing in that 9 steps to 7 figures is requiring you and forcing you to work on your business. And yes, it is going to be painful. I'm not even going to sit here and act like it's not. You will have sleepless nights. You will have long weekends. It's going to suck for a little while, okay? But if you get these systems in place, everything starts to get a little bit easier. Instead of taking hours to do a proposal or consuming or 3 to 5 weeks to close a deal, it takes you 20 minutes to do the proposal and an hour and a half to 2 hours to close a deal. Now you multiply that times 200 over a year. Man, what is that? I mean, my God, dude, you just got a month and a half back of time, right? And you automate your prospect nurturing, and you just everything. I mean, your project management, everything can be not all of it automated, but it all has to be systematized. So
let's touch on that prospect nurturing. That's something I'm building out. I was actually talking to JR about it before we went live.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm thinking of, so I have a cold email sequence that's going out to all these fucking cold prospects, right?
Yeah.
I don't really engage with them yet. My VA is engaging with them until the point where they book a call with me, right?
Yep.
When they book a call with me, then they go into my actual autoresponder for myself. Like, I don't put them on any type of autoresponder, just cold. Like, they'll have to book with me, and then I stick them on, like, my other domain, not my main domain, because I don't want to fuck on my main domain. So I stick them on my other domain, that's the .net, and that's going to be the autoresponder where they're going to get, if they close, they get switched over somewhere else, but if they don't close in the first time, they're going to continue to get little tidbits of information, like regarding ad stuff, like Facebook marketing in general, whatever it is, right?
Yep.
So how important do you think that is to the process in this whole?
It is absolutely a fundamental piece to it, and here's why. I'm actually about to share my screen. I'm going to show you something here in a second, but okay, there are. Actually, there are 6 primary steps. Okay, the first one's going to be what's called lead harvesting. Okay, that's where you're just getting you're giving away the freemium, and you're assigning lead sources, and you're creating the sales pipeline, up to that kind of stuff. The second one's going to be what's called prospect nurturing, and the prospect nurturing is to a large degree validating what I'm saying in the proposal here. Okay, and so here, let me show you this real quick.
So you guys, I'm extracting more stuff that he wasn't going to share with us.
Well, but we are going to be sharing. We're going to be getting. No, we got 9 weeks, baby. We're just getting started. So hold up. So,
this is the first.
Yeah. 9 weeks. All right. So can everybody see that? I don't know if I can't see the chat. But okay. So this is what's called prospect nurturing. Okay, and this outlines basically everything. And so what we do is like meet our CEO. So now everybody knows there's the guy. This is the guy behind the sales reps. This is when you deliver social proof. So, all the case studies, the client results, awards, sizzle reels, certifications. Okay, and then you get into, now social proof is different than social trust. Social trust is actually the client testimonials, people who trust you and are going on record for you. Okay, so the reason I'm saying all this is because every single lead, no matter what, that comes in touch with your brand or your agency, must, no matter what, this is a cardinal sin that if you don't do this, then you're the fucking idiot in the room. Okay, then every single time there must be, you deliver what they asked for. Okay, that's what's going to be here. This, okay. All right, and this is going to be this phase right here. So hypothetical will be like Facebook advertising FAQs. So you give them the actual Facebook call to action. You apply the lead source. You create the sales pipeline, and then you schedule a follow-up task. And then you have what's called a thank you form, and you deliver basically what they asked for, and then you try to get a meeting scheduled right here. Okay, like nothing beats a quick phone call. Let's set up a quick meeting. Okay, from there. Okay, it removes that tag and it kicks off the prospect nurturing, of which is what this is. So it daisy chains. It's like an object-oriented planning system, and that's actually what we call it. Oops, object-oriented planning system. So then it goes into this one, and it follows up with them for the next 30 days because the sales cycle is typically somewhere right around 30 days for larger projects. And so now you're throwing down on them. You know what I mean? For the first, 3, 6, 10, 15, 20 days. And so it all goes way up. Now after this one, then it goes into, if you don't close them, then it goes into what's called an evergreen campaign. Okay? And if you do close them, then it goes into what's called a client onboarding campaign. Right. Where the hell is it here? Right here. And so now you have what's called a client onboarding campaign. Okay? And so now this is educating people on how your project management processes work. And again, here's the cool thing about this is what it's doing is it's called brand penetration. And actually, this is actually in the proposal template. I think I put this in here. If it's not in here, it's definitely in the agency blueprint. And so, long story short, is what happens is this is in your niche. There's only a finite amount of actually leads. So if you live in Birmingham, Alabama, or if you live in LA, or if you're in the Infusionsoft community or whatever the hell it is, there's only 30,000 leads or whatever the hell they are, right? Okay, so you have to harvest as many of those as you possibly can out of your target audience and get them on your list. And so once there's a formula that J. Conrad Levison taught me. If somebody sees your brand 1 to 3 times, and then a friend asks them about your brand, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, I've heard of used Blue Jeans Network, but I've never used them. I don't know anything about them." Okay. Exact same prospect, exact same friend, asking the exact same question. Only difference is they've now seen your brand 4 to 6 times. They'll say, "Oh yeah, man, I've heard of Blue Jean Networks. I heard they do a pretty good job. I've never used them though." So it's just a little bit better. There's absolutely zero difference. They've never used you. They've never talked to anybody at your company. All the only difference is they've seen your emails or your advertisements, your Facebooks, your remarketing. They've seen your brand a few more times. So what happens is they're becoming a little more familiar with it in their psyche. Okay. Now jump ahead to the exact same scenario. They've seen your brand 7 to 9 times. Same friend asks the same question. "What do you think about Blue Jeans Network?" Man, Blue Jeans Network is the shit, man. I've never used them, but I've heard they do great things. And if I ever need a company like that, I'm going to hire them. You ought to give them a call. So here's what happens. There's a triggering mechanism in the human brain that once it sees something a certain amount of times, okay, and it really depends on the emotional impact. So in other words, if you're in an auto accident, it only takes 1 time. Okay, if you're getting married, it only takes 1 time. Branding, and why people pay so much for the Super Bowl ads, is because the Super Bowl is such an emotional thing. It's a very emotional moment in the United States. It's like the World Cup finals. So they know that if their brand is associated to the Super Bowl, then whenever you go to think about insurance, you're going to think about Allstate because they've imprinted your brand 100 times on TV throughout the course of the year, and then what's called a high impact imprint through the Super Bowl. So you're going to think about State Farm, you're going to think about Allstate, and you're going to think about Progressive or whoever it is, because they've imprinted so many times. They're household names because they have been transitioned out of short term into long term, okay? And whenever you go to look, and I think it's up to the left, you're recalling from long term. That's the trusted source in your brain. That's why this automated follow-up systems are absolutely critical, and you can do it now at the agency level without spending a bloody fortune. So every single time. Yeah, every single time a lead comes in, they got to be put into a system to where they are indefinitely followed up with, basically until the end of time.
Yeah, and you can do that pretty simply with, I'm playing with it now, with Active Campaign. Most of you guys that are watching have Active Campaign to work with your clients on fulfillment.
Yep.
So you can actually trigger certain zaps coming from different scheduling systems, Acuity or
Yep.
Calendly or whatever.
Yep.
And if somebody books a call, and say they don't show up to the call, we can move them to this section in our CRM.
Yep.
And that'll trigger a tag to get added to this person to put them in this thing. So
yep.
Those kind of, I'm actually going to, as I set my stuff up and I do all that stuff, I'm going to be recording videos and giving that out too.
Yep.
So,
well, and yeah, and by the way, I'm in the agency blueprint right here like that. I provide all of these mind maps. I have email copies written. I have all the subject lines. I have all the delay, the timing, the delay, everything basically is all in here. For just it's all in here, right? And so it's freaking awesome. So and when I say that for us, because we're going to be going through a lot of this stuff in this 9-part series, so make sure everybody stays kind of tunes back in, because we're going to be going through a lot of this stuff right here that you're seeing right here. This stuff that you're seeing right here. By the way, I finished this today, so this is hot off the presses right here, baby. So and so
I don't know what you're going to be giving out to the group and what you're not. So. Good to mention what's available, what's not.
I don't know. I'm not sure if we're giving those out.
Yeah, we look at the steps. I don't even know. Like
yeah. Oh, geez, I don't remember. We sent them out. Yeah. Man, I got to get to running. I hate to do it, but I got to get going here. So I got to go get some dinner here pretty quick. So I'm starving. So.
Yeah. Time's up, guys. So if you have any questions after, post it on the chat here or on the group. Go to biznotbs.com/9 steps to get access to what he just showed us as far as the PDF for the proposal plan, PDF, and the overview that I shared a little bit earlier today.
Yep.
And then everything moving forward is going to be updated in there, so make sure you subscribe to the bot and get access to all that stuff. It'll all be linked there for you.
Yep.
Like I said, guys, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them after, and we'll get back to them. Do you have any final words, Lee?
No, man. I appreciate you having me on here. I'm really looking forward to this series. This is going to be fun, man. I just love the vibe in this group. So I think
it's just the first of 9 weeks. So every Tuesday at this time, barring any unusual circumstances, we'll be coming on to do another step of the 9 steps. And up to something really big. So
definitely so.
Lee, well, thanks for being on here, and everybody else, thanks for watching, and we'll chat later.
All right, y'all be good. Talk to y'all next week. Bye.
The broadcast of Facebook Live has stopped.